Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for listening to Meaningless. I just want to apologize in advance if there's any sound quality issues in these next 3 episodes. We had to record all 3 of them remotely, but we should be back in the studio after that. Thanks again for listening. Bobby.
Yo.
Miss Bob Garden. I have a meme for you to look at, and I would like you to explain it to our listeners.
Oh, it's The Simpsons. You know what? I'm not sure what's going on in that top picture. Is that okay? I don't know the characters very well. Is that a regular character?
Okay, so I will actually explain this meme just to make it easier
Yeah,
on
Mike.
you.
I know the bottom guy. That's Chief Wiggum, right?
That's right, yeah. In this meme, it's one of those top and bottom picture memes. And at the top, you've got Lenny, but his head is an acorn. And at the bottom, you've got Chief Wiggum. And for people who don't know, Lenny is one of Homer's friends and coworker.
Yeah, I almost said Lenny, but I wasn't sure if that was him or not.
Before I move on, I would like to explain the scene in The Simpsons from where this meme comes from. Now, the man in the car was not originally Chief Wiggum in the scene. It was Mr. Burns. And the person outside the car was Lenny, but he did not have an acorn for a head. Essentially what happens in the scene is a very drunk Lenny approaches Mr. Burns' car, and as Mr. Burns is a paranoid shut-in and afraid of the general riffraff that he employs, he is terrified by Lenny's approach to the car. Which brings us to an important question about this meme. Why would there be a police officer terrified of an acorn? And Bobby, I have a clip to play for you before we can explain everything.
Okay.
I'm pulling out beautiful sunshine.
Okay. Do you know your tag number off the top of your head? Okay, it's okay. What? Where? Right there? Jesse, are you okay? Get in the house! Get in the house! Jesse! Get back! Where is he?
In the car!
43, give me traffic. Shots fired. I got a deputy down.
Okay, that was a lot of shooting.
Yeah, yes it was. That is the body cam footage from Sergeant Beth Roberts and Deputy Jesse Hernandez of the Osaka County Police Department. This event took place on November 12th, 2023. The entire ordeal is terrifying to watch, between the gunshots being fired in a residential neighborhood like that and the scream of "no, please," coming what I can only assume was his girlfriend who filed the complaint in the first place against him, that he had her car and was refusing to give it back. And that he had made some threats to her and things like that. So the suspect is in the back of that police vehicle that is being shot at by both officers. And one officer is down, yelling shots have been fired and that he had been hit. And he is desperately crawling to safety. This situation appears to be full of horrifying circumstances.
Yeah.
But I assure you, this situation has elements that are more hilarious than you're going to expect.
Okay.
First, I want to emphasize that the suspect was not hit by any of these bullets. And luckily, no one was shot in their barrage of gunfire. Now, this next part might surprise you a bit, but nobody at the scene was shot at all. Now, you might be thinking, that one officer went down, and after he screamed shots had been fired, he looked very injured and yelled that he had been hit. Yes.
Yeah.
All that happened, but with one little caveat. He wasn't shot and didn't even actually hear a gunshot. He had, and I'm not making this up, he heard an acorn fall out of a tree onto his car, mistook it for gunfire, clearly panicked, and even panicked himself into feeling that he had been shot by the unarmed person who was locked in the back of their police car, who they had patted down twice before putting him in there. He and his partner proceeded to fire a lot of bullets toward the vehicle.
They did. They got real lucky that nobody got hit. Oh my god.
No kidding. Now, acorns can be pretty scary, apparently. And
I mean, yeah.
now, yeah, and I've heard them fall out of trees, and their few grams of weight tend to hit the earth with all the impact of a blasting cap of a bullet. And God forbid one ever lands on you. I've heard it feels like getting shot.
It hurts.
Now, now there's nothing funny about what followed after the acorn attack.
No.
But the cops could have literally Swiss cheesed a man who had nothing to do with their panic. I don't want to make light of that, or when police resort to excessive force. But there are a lot more funny elements to this situation.
Can you imagine when they got back to the station and told everybody what happened?
Well, this is the best. That's one of the best parts of the story here. So,
God.
some of these funny elements are like when one of the investigators of the firearm discharge report finds the acorn falling from a tree onto Hernandez's vehicle and shows Hernandez that part of his body cam footage.
Mm-hmm.
This is the following exchange according to the investigation report. Deputy Hernandez asked, "Acorn?" Investigator Hogan answered, "Acorn." Investigator Henderson asked Deputy Hernandez if he thought it was possible that the noise he heard, which he had interpreted as a gunshot from a suppressed firearm, was actually the noise of an acorn striking the roof of his patrol vehicle next to him. Hernandez answered, "I'm not going to say no because, but what I..." Then there's a 10-second pause. "What I heard," 3-second pause, "sounded almost like..." 12-second pause. "What I heard sounded what I think would be louder than an acorn hitting the roof of a car, but there's obviously an acorn hitting the roof of the car." It somehow gets funnier than that. So, in explaining why she fired, Sergeant Roberts, the woman whose police cam footage we watched, said that she had seen her partner go down and felt like she needed to protect him, which makes sense considering that he looks wounded and in distress, and also yelling that shots had been fired and clearly trying to crawl to safety. It's like struggling to crawl to safety. But the funny part is when she was describing his appearance as he was struggling to escape the situation. She said, "The best way to describe it is like watching a baby giraffe trying to walk for the first time." I want to take a moment and imagine how Deputy Hernandez feels about this situation. Not only is there viral footage and memes of him almost certainly being startled into a frenzy by an acorn, but that baby giraffe comment will almost certainly haunt him for life.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Now, I would have to imagine that at least part of him is very thankful that he didn't kill the apprehended suspect, because while this is embarrassing, at least he didn't successfully murder someone.
If this had happened and he actually shot somebody, oh my God.
Yeah, clearly the instinct to shoot this easily brings into question for the millionth time how our police forces are being trained. In many cases, they receive very little training. In fact, it's not uncommon for police to report getting tips from watching Law and Order.
God.
And Dick Wolf, a self-declared pro-cop individual, is probably not about to start authorizing critical information in his propaganda show about cops. And that's not to insult the police officers themselves. It cannot be an easy job a lot of the time. And the responsibilities tacked on to what they're expected to do without proper training is vast. From traffic violations to domestic disputes, terrorism, violent crime, emotional crises, it's as if they're expected to be soldiers, officers, psychologists, counselors, social workers, and whatever the hell else people decide needs to involve the police. And do we really need an armed officer to deal with all these situations? Does the officer who pulls you over, does he need to have a loaded weapon on him? Like, is that necessary?
I would hope not, but you never know who you're pulling over.
That is true. And there are risks, but it's just the fact that this is what we resort to in like, situations that are not especially dangerous. I don't know. It makes, I think it invites a certain amount of danger that wouldn't be there otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and if they're this quick to fire at any perceived threat, is this really what we need? Now, clearly, there is a systematic issue. And with fewer people all the time wanting to be police for very understandable reasons, the issues are likely to continue to get worse. I'm not a fan of the all cops are bastards crowd because just seeing how the East Peoria Police Department, for example, handled that Stephanie Melgoza situation, they exercised some impeccable tactfulness. I'd also like to know how the ACAB people would react, the all cops are bastard people, how they would react to being mugged or burgled. Are they going to just let bygones be bygones? I doubt it. I bet they'll contact the police.
Probably, yeah.
Calling all cops bastards is not an appropriate way to address the many flaws in our law enforcement system. But that doesn't mean that major change doesn't need to be made. Luckily, in this situation, the whole thing turned out to be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So I've got another meme. I would like you to explain this one because now that you know the story behind it, and this one's not Simpsons related.
Okay.
This one should be easy for you to explain.
Okay. So there's two kids cowering in the corner, and it says police next to them. And they're staring in fear at a big acorn laying on the floor.
The one kid's crying and everything. Oh, God. And
They look like they're having a bad time.
Yeah. And, to be fair, like, Hernandez almost certainly believed that it was a gunshot.
Yeah.
But
I get it. I mean, this is a very high-stress environment, an awful job. Like, I would be so freaked out all the time if I was a police officer. I couldn't do it.
yeah.
But the amount of stress that they're under, like anything like that, somebody slamming a car door or something like that could set you off, or
Right,
car
yeah.
backfiring or something.
Yeah.
Anything will make you twitchy.
Yeah. And that's, like, I'm sure that it's, a scary situation. It's hard, though, not to find it hilarious.
Oh, yeah, it's
like,
really funny.
Like, not just the acorn hitting the car and it scaring the shit out of this police officer,
Yeah.
but also the fact that since he thought he had gotten shot and was like crawling as if he was like dying.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Like, what happened there? Like, what in his brain set that off? Like, did he?
I'm not sure. Like, okay, so
Strange.
one thing about how police are trained is that it is emphasized that they look out for their own safety. It also emphasized that they put an end to a threat that could be a threat to them or others. But what's interesting here is that the Acorn cop, he was in the military prior to becoming a police officer, and in the military, they are trained to exercise restraint when it comes to shooting. You want to be certain that what you're firing at is an enemy, because war crimes is a thing, and so you are held more accountable in the military than you are as a police officer when shots are fired. And ways to make sense of that one way or the other. And I'm not going to go into details of it because I've never been a police officer or a veteran. So I've got not a lot of input on this. I don't have a lot of experience. I'd rather defer to somebody who is more well versed in that kind of thing before I would form an opinion on whether cops should be trained more like military when it comes to firing shots or not. But I do get the incentive to, try to protect yourself.
Oh, yeah.
But all that being said, this baby giraffe, he just barely survived that acorn attack. All right. So, Bobby, what do you think? I mean, I know.
Oh man, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
The baby giraffe thing is pretty good, but I'm so happy that nobody got hurt because that was a lot of bullets flying around.
Yeah, and it
And it could have gone real bad, but I'm so glad that it was funny because this is pretty fucking funny.
turned out hilarious. I mean, something that's that terrifying never turns out to be hilarious, but this time it did. Especially like when you think like, okay, the acorn thing, already the funniest thing I've ever heard. And then
Yeah.
you read the police report and you find that quote from his partner, and it's the baby giraffe one. Holy crap. That guy, I don't know if he'll ever live it down, you know?
No, I don't think he will. He's gonna have to like change. Like even that probably wouldn't help. But he's gonna have to change districts or whatever you call it. You know, go somewhere else. You know, flee the country basically. 'Cause-
Otherwise he's gonna come to work and there's gonna be somebody dressed as an acorn, you know, just to like jump out and scare him.
Oh my god! Yeah, Halloween. Oh,
I was
watch out!
thinking
There's
Halloween.
acorns everywhere.
Oh, you know, fall decorations must be terrifying for this guy too.
Yeah. Oh man, can you imagine like filling his locker full of acorns? So when he opens it up, they'll just fall out.
Oh my god. Oh, that was too good though. The whole story is just great.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all so much for listening. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
And oh, Bobby, I'm kind of proud of. I didn't want to tell you the title of this one because I
Okay.
didn't want to give away what it was going to be about. But I'm proud of the title. It's going to be called "Acorning to Police."
I like it.